welcome back for another episode. I have one last piece that I mentioned when I was doing my diverter valve that I still need to steal off of the red car here. I was able to get this car back up and running. I did have to replace a O2 sensor on this, so we have a new upstream O2 sensor that I had to replace on this car, and that pretty much took care of it. We're just going to be moving next on to getting out the clutch delay valve, which is down underneath there. We'll have to get access to that through the wheel well. I need to pull this wheel off, get that tub liner out, and then we should be able to see that, hopefully. I'm gonna have to do the same thing on the blue car, because basically we're just gonna be swapping them. I'm not gonna show you me taking the wheel well apart, because I probably did this 100 times on my videos. I'm just gonna resume this video once I get the wheel and the liner off of this car and also that car, and I will go through the steps of how to replace this. We are going to need to bleed it after we do remove it, and I will show you how to do that. I'm going to kind of like show you where this is and pretty much how to remove it. Right down in here is the hose that goes to your transmission for your clutch slave cylinder, and if you follow this back, I'll try to get in here at an angle so that way you can see it. You see a bunch of coils right there, right where my light is shining, and attached to that is going to be a clutch delay. It's in the very back. It's right there where that like kind of black piece is, where my pointer finger is, right behind there. And you can see that there's actually a little clip on that. It's like a C-clip. What we're going to do is we're going to remove that C-clip, and then that should allow us to pull this out. And then we're also going to disconnect this from right here. I'm actually going to disconnect this part right here first, and we'll get this clip off of here, take some wrenches, break this loose, and then we will work on getting that clip removed back there, and that should just pull right out once we have that out there. I just broke this loose. That nut, it was a 15 millimeter and a 10 millimeter, and I have just a drip pan down here. It is already starting to drip brake fluid. We can now go ahead and finish unscrewing this so we can get these disconnected. Next one in the back, we're gonna undo that C-clip. Basically just break the C-clip loose. It's gonna be hard for me to film it on camera. And then once the C-clip is out and removed, it should just basically pull out from there. So we should be able to do that once we get it off. I just removed both of the clutch delay valves from the vehicle. I'm going to show you the difference between the two here. This is the one that came off of my blue car right here. It's the OEM one, factory one, and this is how it comes. It has this little cylinder piece right up here at the top, and basically what this does is it slowly engages that clutch, and which is not good. The intention is for new people and new drivers to driving manual cars, basically. It's just supposed to help make it easier for that clutch for them to find, I guess, the clutch pedal. Now, what it does though is it wears out your clutch, and it's not good for it. You're also gonna get a less responsive clutch. This is the aftermarket one right here that comes. You can see it has that whole entire top cylinder piece removed, and basically it just goes straight through. Now it does have the coils on it. I don't really know what the coils do, but nonetheless we're going to be swapping this over. We're going to throw this in our car here really quick. I don't want all the fluid to drain out, because if it does, we're going to be having to bleed all the brake calipers too as well, which I want to try to avoid that. So we're going to do this. I'm going to do this as quickly as possible here and get these lines on here so that way we're not just draining fluid. I already have this finished and it's in here. What I'm gonna do is just show you real quick. This part is easy right here up front. Just use 2 wrenches and you can break that loose and those become disconnected. The back part, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So if you get way back in here and you wanna look for right on the very top of all these coils, you're gonna see that little metal clip right here. My screwdriver's on it right now. All you need to do is take either a pick or just a flathead, get underneath it and pull that down. You don't completely have to remove this clip out of here, just pull it all the way down. And once that's pulled down, you can take your whole unit here from this top part and basically just pull it right out of there, and it just slips right in and out. That clip is the only thing that's pretty much holding it and locking it in place, and that's how you remove that. The only part that we have left to do is we just need to go ahead and bleed both cars. So I'm going to show you how to do that process. We can do that from the top side of the engine bay. I'll just show you where it is for right now. It's right underneath your radiator hose and your intercooler piping. You have your slave cylinder right here, and it has that little, this one has that green little nipple on top of it. We're gonna remove this cover, take it off, and we're gonna go grab a bleeder with some hose, and we're gonna attach it onto that. And I know I briefly mentioned it, you do not want your brake master cylinder to run dry when you're doing this. The clutch master and the brake master use the same cylinder and the same fluid, so they both run off of the same one. Now if you run this dry, then you will have to bleed every single one of your brakes, because you're gonna have air that gets into the system here. As I was like doing this, I just topped it off a couple of times. It is gonna waste a little bit of fluid, but I'll take that at the expense of me not having to go all the way around and do a brake bleed process when we don't need to. I'm gonna attempt to show you how to bleed this. I'm gonna explain it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you how to do it, because it's in a kind of a tight area and I just can't really get a camera in there. You will need two hands, and you also are going to need a second person while doing this, at least doing it my method. But it's pretty similar in a way to bleeding your brakes. Now I have my little vacuum hose with my bleeder set up here, and I have that on that nipple that I just showed you guys. They had that green piece on it. Now coming down here, you're gonna have this little metal tab right here, and it sticks straight up, and there's quite a bit of room for you to be able to push this down. So you'll have somebody inside of the car push the brake pedal and hold it down all the way to the floor. While they do that, and they're holding it there, you're going to take this clip, push it all the way down, and then this little piece right here that goes right into that, you're gonna pull this back just a little bit. Basically one click, one or two clicks. You don't wanna completely pull this out, because then you're gonna have to redo the process over. Once it gets a second for this to bleed, you will see fluid come through here after maybe a couple times or so, and you'll just, after a second, then you will push it back in and release that clip, let the clip go back up, and then you're going to just repeat that process over and over until you keep getting enough fluid out of here and you don't see any air bubbles in this, just like your brakes. Now what you don't want to do is push down the clutch pedal a couple of times and try to speed the process up and then go to release this, because what's going to happen is it's going to have way too much pressure and it's just going to blow right off and explode all in your face and all in the engine bay. Don't ask how I know that. We are all bled on this clutch. Now I will mention that while bleeding this, and I had somebody inside of the car pushing the pedal down, one full compression down on the pedal was too much pressure for this, and it was causing the line to fly off. And this is exactly what I mentioned beforehand. It was too much pressure, even with one pump on this. Now, as a result of that, this is exactly what can happen. And not only that, I'm gonna have to clean up my entire engine bay, because I have brake fluid now all over this and all over the top of the hood, and it makes a mess and it gets everywhere. I hate dealing with brake fluid. It's just a nasty fluid. So what I had to do instead was basically have half a pump down and pretty much bleed it with that. That was enough pressure for this. I don't know why, it was kind of weird. I did the same exact process on that car and had literally no issues at all bleeding that, doing one full pump with that clutch pedal and then letting that up. The last thing you'll need to do is just top off your brake fluid in the reservoir here. I'm just using pre-stone brake fluid. This is a DOT3. That will complete the install for this. I will mention too, this car is just about finished up and done. I'm gonna be selling this car pretty soon. I know I haven't really shown a whole lot with it on the channel. I just kind of took everyone through just a quick run through. I think what I'll do, since this was just a short and quick video, I do have a couple videos of just kind of doing quick test drives in this car, kind of just for sound effects. I'll probably just put those in this video, so that way there's just some examples of what this car sounds like, so you can kind of see it, hear it, and just get a feel for what this one was. Other than that, I'm going to add those in here, and then that will pretty much conclude this video. Thanks for tuning in.